Hey, this is Cameron and welcome to the reaction log. Whoa, I came at you a little different there for a second. Whoa. This video has been long overdue. Finally, we need to conquer our stage fright. And I said that I would watch this Brandon Acker video to try to get over it, which, actually, this video is a little, post-mature. He's already conquered stage fright. As you can see from my last couple of shorts, I'm playing on stage, and I feel like a straight-up freaking awesome dude up there. I don't know, I just had my jury for the end of the year. I felt nothing. I felt nothing for that. I just played, and I was like, what's up? This is me. This is my Bach. What's up? So I don't know, I guess I'm doing this for you guys, because I'm sure that a lot of you struggle with stage fright still. You know, not everybody can be Cameron freaking Fernandez of sore hands. I'm talking pretty big game right now. You guys have seen my performance journey, and I have floundered in front of you guys. I've shown you all of it. I've shown you the whole thing. You've seen every missed note, every flub, every blunder. I'm just still riding that last victory, so I'm feeling good. But in reality, stage fright is a thing that we all deal with. Even me, I know, and I will continue to deal with it, especially as the situations get more and more intense. You know, maybe I'll be playing for 15 people instead of for 5 people. By the way, let me go ahead and introduce myself. I am a classical guitarist here on YouTube. Hey, and so is Brandon Acker. He is also a classical guitarist here on YouTube. And what does it mean to be a classical guitarist? It means that you post YouTube videos because, you know, you got bills to pay. You gotta make people interested in the most boring instrument and genre on earth somehow. I shouldn't say that. I love classical guitar and I'm using my life and resources to pursue it to its fullest, which means that I'm allowed to make fun of it. But I don't want to see any comments of you guys making fun of it because, you know, I'm allowed. And I say that everybody deals with it. Literally in the sidebar here, we got Guitar Cody, friend of the channel, how to overcome music performance anxiety. Thank you for clarifying music specifically. I will need a separate video for a different kind of performance anxiety. Adam Neely, transforming fear into mastery on stage. Everybody deals with it, except he plays an electric bass guitar, which I will argue is infinitely easier than playing classical guitar. First off, you're never playing solo. Man, you don't know performing until you go up on that stage alone. It's just not the same. And for those of you who know, you know, it just so isn't the same. And by the way, I've done both. I've performed in duets and quartets and even entire guitar orchestras. It's not the same. I've shown up to those things like a little underprepared and then it's just like, it's fine, it'll be fine. But when you're by yourself, everything you do matters and it is terrifying. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this video and then we're all gonna go home. Hey, it's Brandon Acker in a recital hall that's been advertising a guitar concert for the last 2 months. This is all the people that showed up. All right. Okay, sorry.
In this video, we're going to learn all about stage fright.
We're going to get a little scared here with Brandon Acker. All right, I'm ready for it.
If you've ever had to speak in public or maybe play an instrument for an audience, then you've probably encountered stage fright.
I've done some public speaking, like presentations and classes. After doing all the competitions and all these guitar performances, public speaking is a joke. Speaking is so much easier than playing guitar on stage.
It can be a terrifying experience where you feel like your body is betraying you and you can't even perform basic functions like talking normally or touching your instrument without your hand shaking. So in this video, we're going to talk about stage fright. What is it? I'm going to give you some of my own personal terrifying stories with stage fright. Yes, I have stage fright.
You know what, Brandon? I don't believe you. I don't think you have it. No, that'll be interesting to hear. And that really is kind of how it works. It's a little weird to think about how long Brandon has actually been playing classical guitar specifically. It's weird for me to think about because I believe I started playing in 2017 and I didn't get like decent at classical guitar until like I feel like in the last year or so. Like I've always been kind of good at guitar. Like you guys can look at my shorts, I don't care. Post a poopy little baby comment about how bad I am at guitar. At classical guitar, I'm pretty decent and I've gotten a lot better in the last couple of years. And this channel has jump-started a lot of that. Dude, like you can look Brandon up on Spotify and look at how freaking long ago some of these albums were. Dude, 2015 he released a Schubert album. Like, so not only was he playing classical guitar at this time, but he was good enough to like feel comfortable releasing albums on Spotify. This is actually the first recording of Lob der Trennen that I heard, and I brought it to him during our lessons, and I was like, I want to learn that. Sounds like you know a thing or two about this one, since you have a recording of it. When you've been playing for that long and performing for that long, I imagine stage fright just becomes nothing to you because you're so used to it. Because even just after not even a year of performing like maybe once a month or so, I really feel it changing me. Like I'm getting very comfortable and used to it. So yeah, it's easy to forget though. He's been playing for a long time, dude. And he's been good for a long time.
Performing since at least the age of 9.
Wow. I'm glad you found your way. You were going down a dark path, Brandon. Like, seeing this picture, I would expect that you'd end up in prison, honestly.
To playing in metal bands in high school.
Dude, that's a freaking awesome picture. That's a $1 million picture to have from your childhood, man. Oh my god.
All the way to touring around the world today to play concerts on early plucked instruments and classical guitar. I've played more concerts than I can count at this point, but one thing is for sure, I've been scared every time.
Interesting. Scared every time. I don't think he's going to talk about this, but I would like to hear him at least just touch on how scared he is when he's going into like an ensemble versus a solo concert. Solo has to be scarier, right? Like, it has to be.
Okay, here's my first embarrassing stage fright story.
Let's take a poll. Is it going to be super embarrassing, or is it going to be not embarrassing at all, and it's going to be like, oh, I missed a note, and then I continued on, and it was actually a fine, wonderful concert? Or is it going to be like, I went up there, and I straight up peed my pants, and it was sopping wet on stage. All my guitar strings broke. My guitar just crumbled in my hands. And then I'm just there with my pee pants, just like, oh god. And then you start calling for your mom, and then you see a reserved seat. Mom, she never showed up.
Playing one of the biggest concerts of my life. There were 4,000 people in the audience.
Dude, alright, what are you, Polyphia? That's some Marson numbers, man. Alright.
The traffic was so bad that I couldn't get to the venue, and I ended up walking in about 1 minute before we were supposed to start. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was sweating.
Oh my god, dude. That's bad for so many reasons. Just in case you guys don't know, he was holding his guitar with his hands, straining them, straining his tendons. He showed a snowy image. Was it cold out? Oh my god, dude. For me, in all of my inexperience, ideally, I want to be there about 8 hours before the downbeat. Like, I want to have lunch and dinner at the venue, ideally. That's a terrifying thought.
Walking in about 1 minute before we were supposed to start. My heart was beating out of my chest. I was sweating, and I thought I was going to miss the show. So I was so terrified that I grabbed my instrument. I was playing theorbo and baroque guitar.
And you know what? If you were a pop star, you would just show up 3 hours late and you wouldn't care. You'd just be playing video games and eating Cheetos. And you were like, oh shoot, I had a concert. I better go to that. And nobody would care. They'd all be like, finally, freaking Brandon Acker's coming out. And that's another thing too that you guys don't understand with classical performing. You can't show up on stage in that situation and go through like a 5-minute comedy routine to kind of break the ice and get everything situated and to just like feel generally better about the situation. Usually it's expected that you just like sit down, say a little bit, and then play, or sometimes just play, especially for the first piece. You might not even say anything. There's not this rapport that you can just build with the audience like you can a rock show. I'm just saying, because I see a lot of comments and sometimes you guys talk about doing shows like that and it's like, it's not the same. Can't treat those two performances as equivalent. This is a way scarier experience.
It came around to my solos, and I was so nervous. My heart was still beating so fast. I was still sweating from thinking I was going to miss the concert. I just couldn't calm down. And when it came time to play my solos, which had gone fine every night before, and when I brought my hand up to the instrument to touch the fretboard, it shook every single time. And I couldn't see myself playing because how can you play when your hand won't stop shaking? I couldn't actually play my solo exactly as written because I couldn't do a good bar chord because of the shaking. I improvised something else, and to this day, I have no idea how it went.
You just played a bunch of pentatonic scales. Dude, I don't care how nervous you are, pentatonic scales always come out. Can somebody retrieve a video of that, please? I bet it sounded fine. Whenever I look back on videos where performances go really horribly, I always remember my hand shaking so much. And then I look at the videos and like my hands look totally still. They're like, it's like in my head or something. I bet it was fine. He just improvised some blues scales. It was cool.
My colleagues assured me it wasn't that bad, but in my mind, it was a nightmare. After the concert, I was going to go up to the conductor and apologize for what happened. But before I could, something very surprising happened. One of the musicians pulled me over to the front to introduce me to someone in the front row in the audience. And they said, hey, this is Brandon. That was my favorite part of the show he just played. And I honestly thought she was lying.
Yeah. You become so paranoid after you play poorly. I've totally been there too, where people are like, that was great, I really love that. And I'm just like, you're so full of shit. What do you want from me? You clearly want something from me. I do not believe you. It is as obvious as someone calling a fire hydrant blue, you know, where it's just like, no, it's not. I did not play well. But it's really rude to be like that, because in that, you are basically saying that they have horrible taste in what is good and what is bad. So no matter how poorly you think you played, you should always just be like, oh, thank you so much. You know, I really played my heart out on that one.
Finally realized she was being sincere.
You're just treating this old lady like a liar for a couple minutes.
It occurred to me that I think I had made this so much worse in my head than it was in reality. So my first lesson for you is your subjective experience of how things are going on stage is so much different than what the audience actually perceives. And most of the things that you consider mistakes, they're not even noticing.
And that's especially true for Brandon Acker. For all of us, though, they all notice. They totally notice. You didn't play very well. When Brandon doesn't play well, it's still like, it's fine. And I noticed the same thing at those really high-level competitions, like Columbus especially. You really don't notice when they miss a note, because at that level, like, you're just so good at hiding it. You're not so good at that. I'm not so good at it either. I'll just like, oh, and then I'll keep playing. I'll like stop for a second. I called it last time, like your best playing versus your worst playing. Those people at those high-level competitions are like here. It's just like, oh, I didn't play so well, so I played here, but it's still like, my best is here, and my worst is like all the way down here. You know what I mean?
What is stage fright? Stage fright is essentially a psychological false alarm. We evolved on the African savannah where we were chased by lions.
Brandon, I'm gonna need some sources on that. I don't know if you knew, but Sorehands is a creationist YouTube channel. We actually came from the Garden of Eden.
So when you think you're about to be attacked by a predator, your whole body goes into fight or flight mode, and it's actually a good panic response, which is sort of an emergency alarm system where you need to run and fight for your life.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure stage fright is when spirits swarm you and they make you feel all upset and scared. And the only way to conquer it is through prayer. I'm sorry to everyone who's religious out there. I'm just making jokes. It's cool. I make fun of a lot of stuff. Get over it.
That same evolutionary instinct is triggered when this very room can be filled with 300 people all watching me on stage.
How bad do you think your response would be if it was filled with 300 lions?
These aren't nice people who want you to do well. These are lions ready to eat you. Here's my second embarrassing stage fright story.
Woo! Another one.
It was very early in the morning, and I was playing for an audience of about 400 people.
Oh, this is nothing, dude.
Transcription of a beautiful aria by Handel, Ombre Mai Fu. Such a beautiful, celestial, and consonant piece. A very beautiful piece. There's no jarring sounds in it.
That was foreshadowing.
While I was playing, suddenly I heard the worst sound come out of my guitar.
And the cats in the back are like, ooh, okay.
And the worst part is it was a super reverberant church, so that sound reverberated for 6 seconds outward, and all I wanted to do was grab it and hide it. But it was too late, and the sound was out, and 400 people were hearing it, and I was so embarrassed.
And then they all just started vomiting and clawing their ears and stuff. Just at the sound of a minor second. That's how it feels like they'll react sometimes. They never do. Minor second's still a pretty interval. It can be. I don't know. You guys want examples? I don't even have a guitar in this room. I do have this, though.
I shrunk in my chair and tried to finish the piece through tension, and I was so stiff that I could barely play, and I was just praying that I could just get to the end without falling apart. And again, I finished playing, I bowed my head in shame. Coincidentally, my twin brother was in the audience, and afterward I came to him and I said, "Can you believe what happened?" And he said, No, wait, you have to know. Seconds after you made that terrible, jarring sound, the person sitting next to me leaned over and said, "Isn't it amazing how he never makes mistakes?"
You might have been messing with him. That was either genuine from a music lover, just appreciating you being there, or like just a brutal roast. Isn't it nice how he never makes mistakes? Exactly as intended. That's everything he plays. Yep.
I was in disbelief. This was such an obvious mistake. How could this person not have heard it? And that probably means many other people in the audience didn't hear this thing that I considered a nightmare level mistake. The audience isn't there to tally up your mistakes. They're not counting the number of notes you got right and wrong.
Not when I'm in the audience.
They're not considering you a robot who plays perfectly. You're a human. They want to hear beautiful music. They want you to do well. And they don't know the piece. So if you play something different, perhaps they won't even realize what it was supposed to be in the first place.
It makes you wonder why we're even learning such hard, complex music. You can just make it up. Just learn the first 8 measures of Capriccio Arbe and just make up the rest. You think those idiots will know the difference?
In both of my worst stage experiences, I learned that for me, it was a nightmare, and for everybody else, it was actually fine.
Dude, those are your 2 worst? You're lucky, man. You're lucky you weren't documenting those 2 to post online. That's what I'm doing. It's pretty brutal. It's fine, though. You talk about, like, not knowing exactly how some of those go. You just have the memory of it, and then everyone says it's fine. I know exactly how they went. And you know what? It is always way worse in your head. So I bet if you were documenting them, they would be fine, because everybody thought it was fine. These 2 experiences that he listed existed, they're not that bad. Like, they felt bad. They feel horrible when you're the performer, and that never goes away, I don't think. When you underperform, it always feels like a disaster. But all of these times, I bet you Brandon was ready to play on a stage like this. Where things get really bad is when you're not yet ready to play on a stage, and your first performance experience is something that's like kind of high stakes, where people are like showing up not even knowing the context that this might be your first performance or something. That's what open mics are really good for, because there's no expectation then, and you can even say the context. This is my first time playing, I'm gonna suck, watch this. But all of these performances sound like high pressure, high stake performances where people like paid money to show up and they're expecting good music, and he was ready. So there's something to be said about being ready.
The next thing I want to discuss is perhaps the most important skill you can ever discover for handling stage fright, and that is breathing.
Breathe. People always say that. Remember to breathe. Does that help anybody? I don't know. I get it. The thing that messes me up when I'm nervous and I'm playing on stage is I think that I need to play faster for some reason. This especially happened quite a few times with the Prelude, and when I play that thing fast, something always goes wrong. But when I stop and like just play it normal and let it breathe, it usually is fine. And even if I miss something and get lost or whatever, when I'm playing it at this like more steady tempo and letting it breathe, it's easier to just get back on. And it sort of affirms me after a while, nothing bad is gonna happen. I'm always gonna know what's gonna come next. It's gonna be okay, just follow the path. So breathe, let the music breathe. And I think in letting the music breathe, you'll have more time to actually physically breathe.
The second I'm anxious and I think that the lion is going to eat me, I stop breathing. Perhaps I shrink up, and perhaps my bad posture doesn't even help me breathe because my lungs can't expand, and I start taking shallow breaths. And then literally not enough oxygen is getting to my brain, alarms are going off, we're shutting down. Then your hands are sweating, you get more and more tense, and the worst part is the more tense you get, the more you think something wrong is happening, and then more physiological symptoms will happen, and it's a vicious circle.
Let's look at this freaking chart we got here. So let's talk about these thoughts here. I'm useless. It's all my fault. Nothing good happens to me. Are you not supposed to think that all the time, constantly? Interesting. Upset, down or hopeless, or feeling guilty. Well, sometimes you should feel guilty. That's actually not a bad thing. Possible actions, drink or smoke more. That was some of your guys' suggestion for stage fright. Apparently that happens because of stage fright too. All right.
About to perform or give a public speech, the first thing to do is to get a hold of your breath and start breathing with the following exercise. I learned the following from Mark Manson's YouTube channel. So you breathe in for 4 seconds. And I don't know about you, but I feel better instantly just after 2 breaths.
You know, honestly, before that, I feel like I was about to have a panic attack, which is usually how I feel while filming these. I feel pretty alright now. This ain't too bad.
Another tip I use is I eat a banana before I go out on stage.
Again with the bananas. So here's my grievance. I don't want to have to do a thing to go on stage, you know what I mean? If anything, I will not do a thing to go on stage. Like, I don't drink caffeine if I'm going to perform, like, especially in the morning. Like, I did my jury today. I had my first Monster energy drink after my jury. I don't want to rely on a flippin' banana. I don't want to be in that situation where I need my banana, you know? And I'm sure it works. I'm sure it works for a lot of people. I'm not into this one, though. I don't care how well it works. If the banana is what's stopping me from having a bad or a good performance, I need to practice more, or I need to figure my mind out or something. But yes, I'm sure it works.
The next big discovery goes along with the idea of controlling your breath, and that is learning how to do mindfulness meditation. Using apps like Waking Up, Calm, or Headspace, I started listening to guided meditations before performing. Anxiety exists in the future. I'm worrying about what might happen and in my head thinking about all the ways it can go wrong and ridiculous fictional ways that are impossible, terrible things that'll never happen, and then I'm getting scared and I can't breathe and my hands are sweating, and then I walk out on stage and I'm a mess. However, if you learn to bring yourself to the present, you won't go to that place, you won't entertain those ridiculous fictional thoughts, and you won't get so nervous.
I could probably try that out. I've talked to a lot of people about performance, and a lot of them have brought up meditation as a thing. I'm apprehensive because it just seems like, what are we doing here? But yeah, this level of performance, there are just little things to give you an edge, and I could see this being one of them. If you can just trick yourself into being in this mindset for when you need to be in it, just to keep you calm for longer, because I find that's a lot of life too. Like, you want to spend the most amount of time you can being happy. That's like a general goal for most people in life, and a lot of times we'll prioritize happiness right now for like less happiness later. But really, you want the longest length of happiness possible. And same thing for anxiety before performance. If the day before you spend the entire time anxious, and then even if the anxiety relieves itself like 5 minutes before the performance, I feel like that day of anxiety still does a huge toll on your body. So if you can just find ways to just keep you level-headed, like even before the recital, and then maybe 5 minutes before you do get nervous, but you weren't nervous the whole day, I feel like even that can be better. Because it's not the state of how you've been the whole day. It's like this new thing and then you deal with it, versus like I'm just nervous all the time, because I've had it where I am like nervous all the time, and those are my worst performances. Like that's how I was in Columbus and Boone. Like I was just like freaking out about it the whole day.
Bringing myself to the present is the solution always. This is a good solution in life, you guys. Mindfulness meditation has changed my life for the better. The thing that will help you the most in a public speaking event or in a musical performance is preparation. Nothing can beat preparation.
Preparation. Be sure to pick up some Preparation H. You do not want to be without that before your big day. Ooh, man, that's bad. Be sure to not eat an entire large Domino's pizza with jalapenos on it and a whole 2-liter of diet soda. Don't do that. I don't care how much you prepared your music. If you eat an entire large Domino's jalapeno pizza, you're screwed.
Know when you're in practice mode and you're just repeating one measure at a time very slowly to solve a problem, and know when you're in performance mode, when you're actually playing through the whole piece and never stopping due to mistakes. Record yourself and listen back. Play for one friend. Play for them over Zoom. Because when you walk on a stage and you know you can only play the song well 50% of the time, that is genuinely terrifying.
That is exactly why. Sorry, I don't mean to plug my thing again. It's not even available. You guys have commented, how do I join the recital class? It doesn't exist yet. I still need to make it. My last final is due in 2 days. So in 2 days, I will work on it. So think about that. 2 days starting today, because I'm uploading this the same day that I'm filming it, because I'm behind again. Sorry, it's going to be a late upload. I've been working on a lot of stuff. Exciting things. The recital class is one of them. Yeah, I feel like a lot of us, especially if you're not experienced with this kind of thing, it's easy to kind of get confused with what is practice and what is performance. And when you're performing, you can't restart the B section 5 times to finally get that run right. You have to get it right the first time, or else you messed up, or else it's like kind of a bad performance. And when there's no stakes, it's so easy to just ignore when you restart stuff. But when there are stakes, all of a sudden you see exactly how good things are. And that's why I think the recital class is important. My recital class that I do in school has gotten me so much better. And you guys have seen, if you guys have been around like since when I started my master's degree, I feel like I'm worlds better now than I was then. At least when it comes to my confidence and like my trust in my abilities to just like perform. And yeah, he said Zoom. Even over Zoom, it can be hard. Like when you're not used to performing, even a Zoom call, it just adds a little bit of stakes, and that'll force you to be in performance mode. And if it's your first time actually being in performance mode, it's probably not going to go well. But you practice, you get used to it, and then eventually it does go well. Anywho, I think that we can pretty much call that one here. That was a pretty fun one from Brandon Acker, friend of the channel. A lot of good stuff in there. That came from one of his courses, so go check him out. I don't know if you've ever heard of Brandon Acker. I don't have any courses, sorry. But like I said, the recital class will be soon. Well, I think we can go ahead and wrap this one up here. Of course, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. Like I said, keep an ear out for the recital class thing that's coming out soon. Of course, Rootin's Delight. Hey, I'm wearing some merch right now. It looks pretty nifty, right? So head on down over there for that. And yeah, like I said, 2 more days. I've been talking about finals being almost over for like I think 3 weeks. I maybe started a little early with that, but 2 more days now. It's almost done. I'm so close. Then it's summertime, baby. We're just chilling in the sun after that. Just making videos and taking names. It's gonna be great. But, just a little bit longer. How are you doing? Hope your practice is doing well. We'll talk more in a practice log pretty soon. So, I'll see you then.